short amount of time to play this short amount of game.
Yeah, our schedule's been kind of jacked up. So, I mean, we were supposed to have recorded the Master Sword episode like 2 full weeks ago, and instead we recorded it like at the end of last week or in the middle of last week. So instead of 2 weeks, it's been half a week. Definitely changes how games are played. I was definitely playing this game in the last week as well, like getting through the sections, and I'm just glad I did have enough time to actually play it. But yeah,
I fell asleep last night. I was playing, trying to beat it. I was in Vah Rudania last night. It was like 1 a.m, I think 12:30, 1 a.m, and I'm like, man, I gotta get these last two. I gotta get these last two. And I was chugging. I was trying, and then I just I was so tired I couldn't figure it out. I like mind domed, and then I finally just was like, I passed out. I woke up with the Switch on my chest, and then went back to it in the morning.
And I just finished up playing mine like what is it? About 40 minutes ago.
Keeps it fresh. Keeps it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up.
Very fresh.
So, what have you guys been up to in the 4 days we haven't talked?
Work. And playing Overwatch.
Overwatch has been pretty good lately. I'm not gonna lie. Getting back into the Overwatch scene, I don't regret it. Part of me felt like I'd never go back after I stopped playing the first one. And they're like, we're making a second, and it's like the same thing. And I was like, oh, why did I even buy the first? And then they were like, it's going to be free. And I was like, all right, I'm in.
I still have yet to play that game.
It's pretty good. It's better with friends. You should play with us sometime.
Yeah.
And it's free. I don't even feel guilty telling you to get it because it's free.
I already have it, but I just haven't played it.
You shelved it?
I shelved it. I downloaded and shelved it.
That virtual shelf, man.
I got so many games on that virtual shelf. But who has the time, am I right? I mean...
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm ready. I got all my programs running. If this crashes, I'm going to leave a message in my black box for the survivors to refer back to. But yeah, I'm ready.
Welcome to A4NB4Y, the Zelda-themed podcast that's currently diving into Breath of the Wild. And last episode, we were hunting for the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield out of the castle. And in this episode, we are climbing and scraping our way to the top of Goron City, through the fire, through the magma, through the flames. We carried on. I am Cameron Nagy, a crisp Icelandic glass of spring water that has just the right amount of nutrients and vitamins to just...
And my name is Ryan Fonzie, a slice of cucumber that accents the water in such a way.
Ooh, complimentary.
Never liked cucumber on water. Never liked it. I'm a lime guy.
Who are you, though?
So I'm Anthony, and I am that crisp, pot of French fries that was in the oven at 365 for 18 minutes with some oil and some seasonings, just ready to go.
I'm all right. I'm the only one who's not crisp. I'll be a crisp cucumber. How about that?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go with the crispy crew.
We're all crisp today. We're all feeling it and light.
We'll see if the audio matches up with our descriptions. All right, guys. So We're approaching Eldon. It's actually not that far off of our last episode. In fact, I think a lot of people probably stumble into the Lost Woods on their way to going towards Death Mountain because it's like the next door neighbor, you know. But really cool area, really dry area, really warm area. Some would call it hot.
Doesn't take too long of climbing up that before your character might spontaneously combust for forever, as long as you're up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's actually an NPC chilling at the stable at the bottom. What's the name of that?
Gale. I have this specifically noted. I know I think there's an NPC somewhere in the world that'll give you a free fireproof elixir. But this is not, I don't think this is the same person. This is
No. She offers to sell you 1, 2, or 3 for, I think, upwards of 180 for 3.
Right. I didn't find the NPC who does the free one, even though I could remember it from my first play. But I found Gale, who's at the Foothill stable. And
Foothill.
She will offer to sell 3. She's basically like, oh, are you planning on going up to Death Mountain? And you're like, yeah. And she's like, what are you going to do about the heat? And like, if you don't have an answer, she's like, yeah, typical tourist. Like, here, let me help you get prepared. I bought 3 because I'm playing a wealthy Link run right now. That's not what it's the intent of it was originally, but that's just what it's become.
Fonzie's Farms.
Yeah. My Link be rolling up and just dropping cash everywhere. The NPCs love me.
I bought 2 just in case, because sometimes I go, ooh, shrine when I hear the noise, and I just kind of go off. So I wanted to let myself be able to go off at least once and still have an elixir. I didn't end up needing it, though.
You know, you can cook up an elixir pretty darn easily.
Oh, yeah.
Fireproof elixir.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into the Fonzies, well, you know what? How about we wait? Because there's actually like a prime time spot coming up right in our story. But you want to do a cooking section? Have you cooked up any lizards in your real life?
No, I only had 4 days, so I don't have a cooking with Anthony today. So we'll have to mitigate that with cooking with bugs or lizards. So if you get some of the, you know, lizards for cooking, I think it's the red, or if it's the opposite, it's the blue.
There's a fireproof lizard in the game.
Yeah,
there's purple.
The hightails are red.
Yeah, there's firetail lizards in the game all over the mountain. And if you get one of those, you can just cook one and whatever else you want, and it'll be a fireproof elixir.
I wasn't sure what the name of the lizard was, but I know they're there. You can also use dragonflies too, I think. Pretty sure bugs work for elixirs.
I didn't. Yeah, the warmer butterflies. I caught one of them.
Okay. I didn't know any of that stuff could make a fireproof. I thought there was only one way to make fireproof, and I thought you had to have the fireproof lizard. But
I could be wrong.
I don't know. I think the rest is just heat resistance. You can make some before you start
your hike, which is probably good to do unless you talk to a certain guy in a little valley system named Kima.
Yeah, so Q's actually my next NPC on my list.
Oh, nice.
Because as we head up the mountain, it's like a treacherous mountain path filled with fire keys and fire choo-choos and generally other hot things, like ostriches. Is
pretty random ostriches.
We can run into the Southern Mine. Southern Mine is opposite the Northern Mine. But no, the Northern Mine, I guess, has been shut down due to dangerous activity at the mountain. So all of the Goron miners that would normally be dispersed amongst multiple dig sites are all kind of here in the Southern Mine that you run into on your way up to Goron City. If you take the regular path to Goron City, I mean, you can get up this mountain other ways, fly into the city from the side if you want, just like you could with Zora's Domain, but I always just take the mountain path. The first time I played the game, I didn't, because I didn't know that I had veered off of it. Like I think I started on it and ended on it, but I veered off. So when later on there was a quest where I had to find a specific Goron, I didn't even know that this Southern Mine existed. And I didn't know that there was a way to get a free piece of Flamebreaker armor. which is also attached to this place. So Kima is another Hylian who is super recognizable because they're wearing a Flamebreaker helmet. And he is at this mine. Pretty much, I mean, you could call him a tourist if you want. I don't remember what his motivations were for coming here. I think he wanted to see the city. But he asks you to collect for him 10 fireproof lizards. And if you do that, he will give you a piece of Flamebreaker armor, which is just like the shirt. One piece isn't actually enough for you to be fireproof, though. At least not in the hottest parts of Death Mountain. So you will still want to purchase another piece of the set when you get to the city. But the Southern Mine is also where I would declare my Fonzie's Farms for this episode.
He's about to drop the spot for more items to get through and beat the plot. So you better listen to his words, cause he's about to tell you where to get the herbs. It's Fonzie's Farms.
Because just like the mission where you have to catch the deer and get it over to the pedestal in this area, there are just tons and tons of these fireproof lizards spawning. More like at a higher rate than anywhere else on Death Mountain. They're all over the mountain. They're all over the Eldin region. But in this mine, it's just like, oh, we know that we've asked you to get 10 of these right here. So like every rock you pick up is going to have a lizard. You'll just see 2 lizards chilling together in every empty space. Like it's just covered in them. Such that the little side quest here is actually really fast as well. So that's my farm for this episode. That's my main farm, I should say. There's some more farming notes later, but that's the big one. One other person or pairing I should note while we're here. If you happen to run into Grayson, he's there with his little brother Pelison. He dreams of a different life, so just keep him in mind for a later episode. But yeah.
Good old Sunny boy.
Right. There's some other old miners here too that they're kind of fun to talk to. They're a little bit salty, but you know, it's an enjoyable spot. But before we know it, if we continue up the path, we can make it right to Goron City. It's one of the coolest cities ever. I'm trying to remember. I think they share the theme song from the Skyward Sword Lanayru area, right? Like the mining facility. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a similar beat.
Yeah.
You reminded me, actually. So the Death Mountain music is actually a slowed down remix of the original T-Laws, the 2D side scroller. It's Death Mountain music. So they slowed that down and remixed it for the actual Death Mountain overworld music in BOTW. So next time, like, give the two a listen and kind of do a comparison.
Nice. That's
bringing
cool.
Back old musics.
I like that.
It's pretty sick. So guys, welcome to Goron City. We have all of the best shops you could ever imagine. One of your first stops that you want to make is at the Ripped and Shredded clothing supply store.
Best clothing place I ever knew.
Right?
Rocker.
You can stop by the Goron Gusto shop if you want to pick up some ingredients like Goron Spice.
In Goron City, you pay with protein, not rupees.
You pay with protein, right? Or you can stop by the Rollin' Inn. I guess it'd just be the Rollin' Inn, right? Like that's how you'd say that if you're using regular English. Where you can meet Trey and Volcon and get yourself a Goron massage, where they literally pummel you against hard rock.
Oh,
and
break your back.
But it gives you an extra stamina wheel when you wake up. So pretty decent deal.
It's called aggravated chiropractic.
It's I don't know, impact therapy or something.
Impact therapy.
Man,
I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Yeah, but no, this place is. I mean, Goron City is like just so. It's so Chad. Like it's it's extremely bro.
City of the Chads.
It's funny. I think it kind of plays into what the point of the Gorons are in this game. But I mean, it's a mining facility. It's fueled on hot lava and testosterone. Like it's just straight up everything about this play. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, there's no, as far as we know, there's no female Gorons. Just like every other game we've played.
Yeah, I mean, even like some of the Gorons, like when you interact with them, they have a lot of personality. And I don't know if you guys talked to the little kid who's running his business next to the cooking place. He'll sell you a fireproof elixir. And if you say that you're not interested, because he's originally sleeping, he's like, you're not buying. Why'd you wake me up in the first place then? And he just goes back to sleep. And I'm like, yep, makes sense.
Yeah. There's a couple of cool side quests you can get here too. I mean, one of the ones that I always do is called the Brothers Roast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. You go to the right to the to the correct building, and you'll run into this guy Bladon, who's super mad at his brother Goron, who has ventured off to try to find the hero's secret or something like that. Like he's looking for the hero's treasure, I believe is how they phrase it in the game. And so he asks you to go find him. And when you find him, he shows up and also finds him. And he's sleeping in Gorko Tunnel. He's fallen asleep. He was trying to dig his way to the hero's treasure and basically couldn't make it all the way. And so now he's incapacitated, and you are asked to go get a slab of roasted rock sirloin, basically. In fact, I think that it's not roasted yet. I think you're just going to get like a rock sirloin, which is call back to Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask days, because there's actually, I mean, we learned about sirloin, like rocks being called sirloin in Ocarina of Time. In Majora's Mask, we haven't got to that game yet, but there's actually a mission to carry one of these things around to help out a hungry Goron. So just huge callback to that. Challenging side quest, I will say, because
it's a delicious looking slab of rock too.
Right, like a big meat on the bone kind of rock.
Mm-hmm.
You come out of Gorko Tunnel, down Gortram Cliff to get this slab of meat. Which, by the way, if Gorko and Gortram sound familiar, that's because those are references to our Goron friends in Skyward Sword. Gorko being the adventurer researcher that we ran into about 8 times, and Gortram being the one who ran the track minigame, like the minecart minigame. So there.
Which you so graciously did a lot.
Yeah, no, that's fun. It's a good time. Best island ever, you know. This one, not so much, because when you're running this slab of meat back up the hill, you are getting just berated by moblin archers and giant lava rocks. Anything to keep you at the bottom of the hill. Best strategy I could figure was to just clear out all the enemies on your way down. And then on your way up, all you have to worry about is giant lava rocks. And they're comically set up where you have like these small ones you got to like bob and weave through up until about 3/4 of the way towards the top. And then just this giant rock covers the entire pathway and comes down and leaves you with very little recourse. But once that triggers once, it won't trigger again. So if it messes you up, don't worry. Just go get the sirloin, bring it back up, and you'll be fine. But yeah, good stuff.
Can't say I did that quest.
You've never done it?
Back and do it now. No, I'm gonna have to go back and do it now.
Oh, it's a hoot.
I want to be attacked by giant flaming meteors too.
Yeah,
I want to play.
It's a shrine quest. So if you get that rock back to Gongoron, his brother, you know, who showed up. What did I say his name was? Bladon. He'll cook it up for him. And he's, you know, all the compliments in the world, like, oh, nobody cooks these like you, brother, kind of stuff. And then he eats it, gets the strength of 1,000 suns, and smashes the rest of the rock. And then you can go do a shrine.
Nice.
So pretty good stuff.
I'm gonna call that quest Sirloin Stranding.
All right. So that's been our episode, folks. Tune in next time when we can recover from that statement. Do you guys find any other side quest? I mean, there's one other one I want to talk about, but not if you guys already have it on your list. Nah. All right, cool. Just me then. All right. The other one is the road to respect. I didn't actually do this one proper. I did this one because I just knew where the goal was. There's a blacksmith in Goron City called Rohan. His name is Rohan. The name Rohan means to ascend, I guess, or ascending. I don't know the exact origin or anything. I just did like a brief lookup.
So he's super good.
He's super good. He's known for having fought every Igniotalis in existence at one point, or at least that's how the legend goes. The man's a legend. He's like the master blacksmith at Goron City, and that's what he's known for. Was in order to get stronger, to be a better blacksmith, I guess. He went and fought just Igniotalis after Igniotalis. So he sends his current apprentice, who is Fugo, which is like heat, right? Fuego, Fugo, to go and fight an Igniotalis, but he's afraid. He doesn't want to do it. So he sends Link to do it. If you go and fight the Igniotalis up at Gorko Lake, which is actually right next to Gorko Tunnel, he'll give you 100 rupees. It's not like there's no shrine attached to this one. It's just the battle challenge. Whenever you fight an Igniotalis, you get pretty good gems out of it. So you end up with more than 100 rupees, but that's his reward.
Is it a Magma Talos?
Yeah.
Igniotalis. Yeah, an Igniotalis. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's...
So you shoot that with ice and cool it down. And you can stand on it.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can basically one cycle these things if you have a weapon that actually swings in circles. As long as you hit them with the ice first.
You can one cycle.
I think they have better rewards than just a regular Talos.
When they have an elemental effect to them, they usually drop some nice gemstones.
I just fought a Frost Talos today, and it dropped I think it was 3 sapphires, which is crazy.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Pretty nice. I'll tell you what you can do with those later.
I got a ruby and a sapphire at a random rocks today.
Nice.
So
you go fight this. He'll give you the money, but he won't actually be able to go back. Like, he gets too afraid to tell Rohan that he basically chickened out, couldn't do it. His plan was to go say, "Oh yeah, I took care of that for you," or whatever, just to, because he's apprenticing under this guy. He wants to earn his respect. I mean, the name of the quest is the road to respect, but he completely beefs it because he realizes what he did was not respectable. And so that's kind of like just a little mini lesson within the game of like having integrity. And then, just another thing to note, that even the two of them there's another like smaller Goron apprentice who's not really an apprentice yet, named Sergo, which, as far as I could tell, was supposed to be, if I was going by the terms of the other two, right? Like if Rohan means ascending, which is kind of like a hammer that you would use for blacksmithing, and Fugo is the heat, then I don't remember Sergo or Slurgo. Hold on, I gotta make sure that I got this right. It's Slurgo, so the L is in there. That's important. Okay, so Slurgo. The closest thing I could think of was slag, which is like a rocky waste material that comes off of like a work piece when you're doing blacksmithing, when you're doing hot work with stuff. So yeah, he's kind of like the runoff, which makes sense because he just kind of loiters around the city all day. I mean, he's a kid, so he doesn't have any responsibilities yet, but he's also kind of got like a bad attitude too. Like, you go and talk to him, if you don't have anything you actually want from him or anything, he gets upset with you, but he tries to like teach you the ropes of Goron City, but nothing that he shares with you is particularly useful. So he acts like he owns the place, even though he doesn't do anything. Another cool little piece of poetry within Breath of the Wild.
I wonder if that was the kid that I was talking about earlier.
I don't know. I don't think he tries to sell you anything. There's a lot of kids in this game. There's a lot of kid Gorons in this game. Like,
yeah, higher
than normal amount.
It sounds like all the kid Gorons are just rude. And if you don't have anything to do with them, they're like, all right, well, then leave.
I think there was one at the mining facility. I don't remember him being particularly rude. There were actually two there.
Pellison was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if they're child labor already, then they've learned respect. But the rest of them are kind of rude.
Oh man!
So before we go into the implications of all that, we should probably change the topic entirely.
So there's probably a giant big Goron who looks really old in the city center. He's kind of just there. If we have nothing else, no more side quests to tackle.
No, I think we're good.
Probably notice this giant old man.
Yeah, a few people actually direct you towards him as well. So it's fine. One of the Gorons that I remember talking to in the city was like, and just out here is a beautiful, beautiful view of Death Mountain, except the village leader's house kind of blocks it just a little bit. And you look over and it's just this giant stone just immediately in the view of the volcano.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, it was such a good piece of comedy. I'm going to try to get that clip and put it in just to show. We're a vodcast. We can do stuff like that. But it's hilarious. But yeah, Bluto. It's the guy's name.
Bluto.
He's an old Goron, man. Yeah, he's
a big one.
He's the leader of the tribe, man.
And he is in some pain.
Oh, so much pain. He's in need of some of that impact therapy.
He's been carrying the whole city on his back, man.
Yeah.
He's sad and mad that Rudania?
Yeah, Vah Rudania.
Yeah, Vah Rudania is kind of smacking around the mountain and needs to be calmed down again. You know, sometimes you just got to go up there, calm the thing down. It needs to be calmed down. He can't calm it down because his back, every time he goes to move, he goes, his lower back. He's having some lumbar issues over here. And he needs painkillers. And he sent somebody, Yonobo, to go get some painkillers. But he hasn't come back yet. So he just doesn't know what to do. He's up at the northern mine. It's not doing so hot right now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that there be painkillers stored in the mining facility. Like this was like part of the mining supply. Like all these Gorons are out here hurting themselves, trying to mine up some more. So they just have like a storeroom with painkillers.
None in the city at all. Just out at the mine.
You're working, man. Impeded progress. It's been 3 hours. Oh, time for another painkiller.
Pop
time
another
to go for another 4.
Man, I got blisters on my thumb. Hey, I got you, bro.
Like, bro, my blisters got blisters. Like, oh, I got you then.
Over in the storeroom, we got a stash, man. Don't worry about it. I got you. No, but yeah, we go to war against some Lizalfos to get to this guy.
Yeah, we do.
Complete with cannons.
I ran past them.
We go full medieval warfare with cannons.
You didn't use the cannons?
No, I ran past all of them.
Oh, you missed out on all the fun, man.
What?
Oh, you was in a rush though, weren't you? Cam was trying to fit this game into his busy schedule.
Yeah,
I was trying to finish this up in the time I had allotted, and these guys are not worth the time that I would have to dedicate.
Oh,
I was thinking about just hopping up on what is it? The Gale, and then just popping out my bow and trying to headshot as many as I could, one after another.
Oh,
just to make it a little
Gale,
easier. Yeah, Rivali's Gale.
I got you. Yeah, no, I mean, I just did cannon warfare because it's fun. I enjoy it very much. Like every Goron that sees you get into a cannon is like, or get next to a cannon is like, yeah, only the chief can use those things. And I'm like, this is the attitude. This is why your chief is in back pain because none of y'all want to man up, learn how to use a cannon.
So you come in dropping bombs,
right? You get to hit a switch. It turns it. A lot of them you have to hit like mid turn, which is pretty fun too.
The one that you let Yonobo out with is one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we first find Yonobo after this whole mission, he's cowering in a cave using a red force field to protect himself, even though he's locked in a cave. So this dude is shivering,
very
scared.
Brave.
I guess the when he went to go get the painkillers, the cave like collapsed in on him or around him. I guess there was a cave in, but only at the entrance because that's how cave-ins work. And so he was stuck inside there with all the painkillers and a couple other Goron tools just in treasure chests. There's money too for some reason. I don't know if that's stuff that they found in the rocks or what. But
a lot of money.
Yeah, we basically just raid the treasury of the mine as well while we're here. But we get to meet Yonobo.
He was cowering from everything. He was cowering from the dark, from claustrophobia. Like he's over here. Like, what is he exactly afraid of in this situation? He thinks you're a monster immediately. Like, why would the monster be after like letting you out? Why would he go through the trouble of blowing up those rocks?
It's like, listen, Yonobo, I got to tell you, I just went through an entire row of Lizalfos. Not one of them even mentioned you or looked this way. like they thought you were dead already, man.
They moved on, my guy.
Sidebar, let's say that, no one ever came for poor Yonobo. How long do you think it would take him to eat his way out of that cave? Since Gorons eat rocks.
I don't know. It's a good question. I've only ever seen one Goron actively eat a rock, and that was when I got that sirloin for Goron. Like you actually see him chewing that thing up.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like, wow, they actually do. Okay.
Just uncooked, non-nutritious rock though. That would take a while. They don't particularly enjoy that, from what I understand.
Like salad to them.
It's like eating long clippings. But yeah, we go meet him. He's afraid. We got to kind of talk him off of his hysteria a little bit. I even think doesn't he like run around in circles at first too because he's afraid or something like that. He's like, oh, they found me. So he like runs to like from wall to wall or something like that. And then eventually just cowers back down until you talk to him. He's like, oh, wait, you're not. You're a Hylian. like apparently I'm okay. And he's kind of
he freaks out a little.
Yeah, he's a little bit confused that you were able to use the cannons to get here and to let him out and everything. But then does mention that he does have the painkillers and he'll meet you back in the village. He's got to go deliver them to the elders so they can take care of Rudania. So he just like walks out, kind of like the Goron prisoners from Ocarina of Time, just walks out of his little cell and disappears. Makes it all the way back to Goron City. And so we can head
before
back.
You can even turn into blue light particles and head over there at the speed of light yourself.
Oh yeah, no, he's got that Darmani speed, man. he's a rock and roller Goron. So, or a hot rodder Goron or whatever they called it. Anyway, so we get back. We talked to Bluto, and he's like, oh, yeah, my back pain's healed. Yonobo came back. He stopped by. He probably already went off to the Bridge of Eldin or whatever. So I just got to go meet up with him now. And then suddenly there's a crack, and his back is back to being in pain.
Painkillers did nothing.
Painkillers were only a temporary solution. More temporary than normal. And basically he's like, oh, Yonobo's going to be so disappointed. Like, I don't think we could do this today, even though, we got to take care of this problem. I don't know what we're going to do. Doesn't offer you any solutions. Just let you know, yeah, Yonobo's probably at the bridge. If you could let him know that I'm not going to make it, that would be helpful. So you head out to the bridge, find Yonobo, who's being harassed by a couple of moblins who are just kind of standing there yelling at him. And he's not doing anything. He's just in his red bubble.
Yep, he's cowering in his bubble.
You go run over and you defeat the moblins. He's like, wow, you defeated those enemies. You must be really strong. And, has a whole thing. And basically, says like, oh, well, the bridge is up and can't get over. And then you tell him about you tell him about Bluto, and he's like, oh, no, what are we going to do? He's the only one who can use the cannon. And then you're like, dude, I just used the cannon like 8 times to find you in the first place. He's like, are you sure you can use it? And you're like, everybody's so surprised that you just went for it with the cannons. I mean, I think the part that makes sense is like nobody else has bombs. I don't know how the chief has bombs. In this area, it's so hot that if you try to use a bomb arrow, it explodes immediately before you can even aim it. And
yeah, that's something they don't really have in this game, right? Is like the Goron bomb flower. They're like absent from Death Mountain.
There's no special crop here. I don't know if Bluto's just like shoving his foot in there and kicking or something or what. Like how is he activating these cannons? That's a mystery.
That's a good question.
I'd like to know.
They throw like lava sirloin in there or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got like a specialized tool that he just like down in there as hard as he can.
Drill shaft. Stick a whole drill shaft in there.
When like those Goron rock crusher
did you
thing
see
that
the
we get
size
after
of
this?
his arms?
Yeah. I mean,
the man has like
he's an absolute unit.
Slabs.
Yeah, he's brolic.
Yeah,
like most of the Gorons,
but an Adonis.
Yeah,
or probably was before he became an old man with back problems.
So the cool thing about Yunobo, and I know you probably feel like there might not be a lot of cool things about Yunobo, but kind of like everywhere else we've been, everyone's a little bit surprised that you don't remember anything. Tells you to look at something specific, and then you get a cutscene of one of the Hylian champions. So this one is our introduction of Daruk. So basically, Bluto tells you, oh, like you don't, like you look a lot like the champion, because I guess Bluto's been around for a very long time. He's like, do you really not remember? Like, can you like look up at the statue? Like we have this statue of Daruk. Like take a look and see if you remember anything, right? And you go and you look into the statue. It's actually a statue of 4 different Gorons, 3 different games worth of Gorons, including this one. With Daruk at the top, it's got Darmani holding the Chief's Elder. That's a set of characters from Majora's Mask. And then I guess there's this Goron, who is a previous chief, but like a sumo champion in Twilight Princess. I always wanted that to be Darunia, but I guess it's not Darunia. It's Goron, who I didn't even remember was a thing because I don't remember anything from Twilight Princess anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I just feel like Darunia deserved a spot somewhere on this. But I am happy that
his dance skills.
Darmani's there. He could have had the kid spot. The elder son didn't do anything in that game.
Yeah, nothing.
He cried.
A lot.
He cried and he taught you a lullaby so you could get into the temple. There's a whole thing. We'll talk about that in a long time from now.
Future episode.
But yeah, so the cool thing about, so we get this cutscene where we remember Daruk. There's so many Gorons. Oh my goodness. Where we remember Daruk. And it's actually takes place at Vah Rudania. You guys are like riding Vah Rudania, and you get this flashback where Daruk is congratulating you on becoming the princess's appointed knight. He's talking about how like, oh yeah, this thing's getting much better, like to handle. Like it's kind of fun being able to use these toys and stuff like that as a champion of Hyrule. Like he's having a good time with his role. He's learning. He's liking what he's doing. He's very congratulatory of Link, very fatherly towards Link. I know that we've been talking about the familiar relationships that these champions represent with Link. I mean, Daruk is totally rock dad. Like that's his whole purpose.
Rock daddy.
Super solid, super level, very encouraging, like he's very supportive. Like he's literally talking to Link like he's his kid. Like, oh, I heard you were appointed. That's a really good position. Like that, that's a really high honor. Like I'm really proud of you. Like he literally tells Link he's proud of him for like.
I think of him as like the good, supportive older brother for Link.
Nah, he's dad. That's my interpretation. You can say older brother. That works too.
Yeah, I see older brother. He's like very encouraging older brother. Like an older brother is just like, yo, bro, you got this. You could be who you want to be, man. Grow up whoever you wanted. Dream what you want.
Dream what you want. So yeah. So it kind of cuts away, and that's our first impression. Well, before I do that, there is one other thing. Like at the end of the scene, some rocks fall off of Death Mountain, like onto Vah Rudania, and he actually uses Daruk's protection, which is how every champion has a special skill. His is this red force field that we've seen Yunobo using, and so he kind of makes this comment about like, this volcano has been quiet for decades. Like if there's if some rocks have just starting to fall now, that must mean. And he's like, oh, you know what? Never mind. It's probably not a big deal. Just probably nothing, right? But it's pretty clear. Like the way I read that is there's evil a brewing. There is something coming. And I think that checks out given what's going on with Vah Rudania right now, but also the fact that they were, most likely attacked shortly after this scene, within in the coming months or whatever, because this is when they were like gearing up for the battle before it happened. So cool little memory to have, and so we can continue our conversation with Bluto. Sorry. So Bluto mentions that Yunobo is actually the descendant of Daruk, and that's why he can actually use Daruk's protection, which is a champion skill that's been passed down. This is a lot different. Like we haven't seen anything like this yet. We haven't seen another Rito using Rivali's Gale. We haven't seen another Zora using, Mipha's Grace. That's not, champion abilities don't necessarily pass down. But this one did.
It might just be like a special skill the Gorons have to be able to do or unlock. Maybe Darmani had it. He was able to do it. So
it's like a familial thing.
Just be based on who actually ended up passing anything down, because Mipha loved Link, and I don't think they ever had a kid, so she didn't have the chance to pass her ability down. And Rivali was so busy training to be the best Rito all the time, 24/7, and never mentions a love interest. It might just be that he totally skipped that aspect of life because he was all about being number one, with how very, very proud he was. So it could just be that of the ones we know of, this is the only one that actually passed anything down to a future generation.
That could be true, yeah. I honestly, checking the wiki and everything, I don't remember anything necessarily that directly said this, but maybe it was. They just say a descendant, but the going thing is that Yunobo is Daruk's grandson, not his son, but his grandson. Like, so there's a dad in here missing somewhere. Which is kind of sad, but still, like, these generations have passed and it's gotten even this far down. So I don't know, but because he can use this ability, he's the one that the village leader, like Bluto, has been taking around to use with the cannons. Because how it works is when you activate the cannon, Yunobo is an effective cannonball because he can protect himself from the impact at the other end. Which is
but he do get dizzy.
He does get dizzy. Yeah. I can imagine getting launched across chasms and whatnot. It is what it is.
Making high speed impacts.
So I just went through that whole series just to say now we get to use Yunobo as a cannonball because he has Daruk's protection.
Got him.
So we launched Yunobo at the Bridge of Eldin to lower the bridge.
Which must not be very good for the structural integrity of the bridge have it drop from like an upward angle and slam every single time to get it down. I don't know if that bridge would necessarily last all too long.
Right. Like they need a better method of raising and lowering a bridge
Yeah.
I mean, this place, the mines, the carts, everything. I mean, there's switches everywhere that turn cannons. They definitely could have used that same mechanism to raise and lower a bridge, but you know, I'm not a
True.
Goron, so
You don't understand.
I wasn't there at the design meeting for that. But yeah, we get to go on the best escort mission ever.
Metal Gear
I sense some feelings.
What's funny about this is the premise of this is getting, Yunobo to be cannonballed to Vah Rudania to destroy it, to kind of distract it up the mountain. And the whole premise is trying to dodge some guardians. I love what Yunobo says is like, every time me and Grandpa or Bluto try this, I always get caught by the guardians. I just we can never do it. It always just failed mission. And it's like, bro, I'm a guardian destroyer. I got this.
Right.
So I forgot the entire time my mission was to destroy Vah Rudania. So I went up the entire mountain with Yunobo, destroyed all the guardians with the metal. And then I was at the very end and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I got to the end. I'm here.
And you didn't shoot any
Yunobo's here.
cannons along the way.
No, and I'm like, what am and then I was like, oh, darn. And then I had to get him to come all the way back. So instead of, walking like a normal person, because what heathen does that, I paraglided down the entire mountain to the first cannon. Yunobo can't follow you. So like
So what did he do?
He just like stopped himself. He was like, "Oh, you're flying." Nope, I'm just standing here. He'll come back for me eventually. So I had to walk all the way up the mountain again to go to Yunobo. And again, like if you walk more than like probably 50 feet in front of him, he just stops himself. He's like, "Oh, you have to give me directions. I have no clue what's going on. I cannot do this without you, man."
Short-term memory just cannot become long-term memory. I can't.
Yeah.
You need your guidance.
Because, I mean, there's a couple ways you can approach that. I mean, I imagine that method's, though it, it requires a lot of hiking, I mean, it's probably really effective in terms of clearing the way for Yunobo.
It was great because I didn't have to worry about guardians.
Yeah, I normally walk them forward a little bit. Like, I bring them with me for the most part, but then I'll stop them every time there's a guardian, just go up and destroy the guardian. Because you can stealth your way through most of them. To the point of like even just blocking one's like sensor and walking underneath it. But there's a timing, there's a puzzle solving method for every single one to get through if you want to just try to avoid the guardians. That is not that I don't like the stress of that, so I just go up high and drop metal blocks on them all, and it's pretty quick, pretty easy. But yeah, every once in a while we have to stop at a cannon, clear off a moblin or two, and then send Yunobo flying up at Vah Rudania. I don't know if 3 is the magic number on this one. I feel like that might be.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying,
I did
Kim?
this one the intended way, and I only set off one alarm.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, the point where you have to like walk them. Like there's 2 of them that are slightly off pattern, and you have to get into a little crevice in the walkway and then wait. It was the second one. Couldn't figure out how to get past that one with Yunobo. So I set off.
Yeah. It's good that they don't have audio sensors, these guardians. Because you'd think like your little whistle signal would trigger them. But yeah, we eventually get off to the last cannon, and there's a little ramp that goes right up to Vah Rudania. Well, I mean, the last cannon sends it into Death Mountain, so then we have to climb. It gets
damaged, it starts exploding all over the place, and it crawls up and kind of rests inside the volcano. So you guys go on up, take a look down, and then like just Jumps off.
yeah, Link is like, all right, we're going. Let's do this. And jumps off and paraglides down.
Like, oh, we got to figure out a way to get in there. And we got to take this thing down. Link's like, all right.
Yeah, he just jumps.
And then Yonobu's just standing there like, Like he's not gonna make the same jump. Like not only do I not have a paraglider, but I'm not making a jump that big. Like it's just not gonna happen. It's funny. You think with his Daruk's protection he would just, go force field diving. But no, chicken's out.
Yeah, he's not about to go lava swimming.
I get it. I'm not about to go lava swimming either. But yeah, we make it to Vah Rudania, where we get our regular champion spirit guidance, where Daruk's telling us we got to go find a. Well, first, he gives you the be careful. This is where I got murked 100 years ago. But then tells you, oh yeah, you got to go activate the controls, get the lights back on, and then you can, do the regular Divine Beast process of finding a bunch of terminals to activate before taking back control of the Divine Beast. So that's what we do. We go in. It's like pitch black. We just got to light some torches. Not a big deal. And we can get to this Divine Beast. Yeah, it's a fun one. This one, way faster this time than the last time I did it. Like, this was a silly short Guardian. I feel like I just kind of knew how to do everything this time around. But
there wasn't really much, I guess, ground to cover in this Divine Beast. I mean, there is pretty much only 2 levels, if you count the third as being the flipped level. Right. There's really just 3 levels in this Guardian.
Yeah.
I think the one that gave me trouble was I was so tired at night, I couldn't focus. And the last one that I had to do was singe your arrow with the blue fire to shoot through the door at the other candle.
Oh, where the little eyeball window in the door.
For some reason, last night, it didn't occur to me how tired I was that you could catch your arrows on fire with the blue light. So
it's like one of my favorite methods.
Passed out and then did it in the morning when I literally came back to the game. I was like, all right, how do we get this last one? Where is it? Okay, it's back there. So I know that the door is probably the blue arrow. Yep.
Yeah. And you get in that blue arrow and you got to take this big metal block and block some flames. Mm-hmm. But if you just block the flames normal, you can't climb the block. So it's not helpful. You got to tilt the whole thing so you can walk around the block.
Yeah.
Took me a second to remember how that all worked, but I did it. So, it's fun. I like tilting it and everything. I think that having a simple control, just 2 configurations and everything, it was a quick puzzle box. It was fun to do. Nothing extraordinary of note. There's one
not
ball on a track
levels
thing that was fun, but not difficult. Yeah, very straightforward. I think the biggest thing was just having it start off dark, but even that wasn't too bad.
But it's kind of the first time, especially, that threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
getting closed into the darkness. I was like, "Whoa!" And then all the purple and the orange of the eyes stand out so much everywhere you look.
Everywhere you look, everywhere there's an eye and a mouth spitting bubbles.
It's waiting to get shot by you. I actually made a fire in the middle of the room in this because I forgot about the whole blue flame thing until I found the first receptacle for it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I just threw down flint and a piece of wood and started a fire. And I was like, all right, I can see a little something.
Hilarious. I'm just gonna
fire lasted.
I'm just gonna put up my own lighting system.
Yeah,
it's a good strat.
Did you even need to light it, or because isn't it? Well, I think once you're in the Divine Beast, you're protected from the heat, right?
Yeah,
gotcha. I think even when you're on top of it, you're still protected from the heat, which is interesting. But good stuff. So yeah, we clear out these terminals, And we get to Flame Blight Ganon? Fire Blight Ganon?
I think it's Flame Blight Ganon.
I always get it wrong. At least
Fire
once.
Blight Ganon.
There you go.
It's Fire Blight Ganon.
That's why I had to say both names, because I knew the first one was going to be wrong.
Can I just say that of all the blights we've fought so far, this guy is a wimp.
I mean, he's not.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Yep. No, I agree.
Like, I burned him.
Well, I froze it. I used iced arrows. I don't know if he has a weakness to ice arrows, but this dude's melted to some ice arrows. They give you ice arrows inside the Divine Beast, so I was just like, well, maybe they gave them to me because it's a hint. And you shoot him with those, and it's silly damage. It was
I just use regular arrows.
Very fast fight. He did not like the cold. Also, this dude looks like the pirate mech from Skyward Sword.
What's his name? SD1.
If you're gonna try to remember the droid code for that guy, I can't help you. It was he's a linear model, wasn't he? Wasn't he an LN something? Doesn't matter. But yeah, he's got this big old hat that looks like it. To me, it says pirate, even though it's like a face mask. I don't know why. That's all I could think of. Well, he also has a hooked axe, which looks like, very piratey as well.
LD Skirvo.
LD Skirvo, there you go.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, this dude's like an Octorok though. think like 25%, or no, yeah, he's got like 25% left of his health. He just goes into the air and starts sucking in all the surrounding magma and everything that's possible, and then charges up and shoots a giant fireball at you. But if you fought any of the Octoroks on Death Mountain at any point, just chick a bomb right up into that vacuum and blow them up.
I forgot that. But
Really?
I was streaming, and somebody put it in the comments after I couldn't figure out the first 2 times he put it up. Because he just made this big, he made the big force field and then made a ball of magma and threw it. And of course I was already using ice arrows. So I shot the magma ball with the ice arrow and it just disappeared. And I was like, okay, that's part of this process, I guess. So I was just shooting, I was just shooting his barrier with ice arrows. Like, why won't it die? And they're like, just throw a bomb. And I was like, oh yeah. Why not do that?
Yeah.
Blow him up.
There's all that suction going on. Everything's condensing in on it when he's absorbing the energy and heat.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I blew myself up in this fight.
Hey, me too. I tried to use bomb arrows for a second. I'm pretty sure that these are not going to work.
Don't use the bomb arrows, man.
Midway through the fight, I was I switched from, I was using thunder arrows because I have over 200. I switched to bomb arrows.
I was close enough to him that I still hit him with the bomb arrow, but I hurt myself at the same time.
Yeah, you were using the blast mask from Majora's over here.
Pretty much, just without the blocking trick.
Yeah, and not the health.
Wow.
My own bomb arrow,
super easy fight.
I had 14 hearts. My own bomb arrow took me to 2.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Did you try more than once or just one arrow? Did you try to do it more than once or just one arrow?
After the first time, I was like, oh, yeah, no, forgot. Fire.
You definitely took way more because of Master Mode, but I lost 8 or 9.
Dang.
But I took out 3 bomb arrows because I was using a triple bow. So I technically had 3 bomb arrows all at the same time and they all blew up.
Yeah.
So there was that. I lost 8 or 9. I had Mipha's Grace pop because I slipped off of the surface during the Yunobo one, and I fell and oof rolling and oofing and ouching and then I fell into a pit of lava at the very bottom right as it reset me. It reset me with my Mipha's Grace extra health. and took it like the cooldown. But by the time I got this far, I had Mipha's Grace back, but I still had some of the health because I didn't really take damage during the whole Divine Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So that took me down to about 2 hearts from all that I had. With the 3 bomb arrows I blew myself in the face up with.
There you go.
It's great.
So we destroy Fireblight Ganon with clever use of Octorok tactics. This poor guy, such a chump. But
didn't know it was coming.
Yeah,
Ganon and Octorok sharing same weaknesses.
See, this is because Daruk would have never died if only the Gorons had the special crop. He would have won.
Right? Like, what did Ludo know? Like, why he's activating cannons? Perhaps he had something that could have really helped out in this situation. I don't know, man.
They need gunpowder.
Ludo's got a special crop addiction. He's been hoarding all the special crops for himself. That's why he's got back pain. It's residual from.
Yeah, it's causing his back pain.
I watched a YouTube video because I forgot the cutscene. So I recently watched a YouTube video of the fight scene with Fireblight and the ending with, like, you know, Daruk and all that, which, you know, you guys can talk about. But this guy, the top comment on the YouTube video was, I know this was my last Divine Beast in the cycle and all, but I'm like, he was supposed to attack me, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
There's some interesting stuff. I mean, speaking of the champions and the blights, you know, I don't know if you guys have heard this lore bit, but I guess in each boss fight there is a like in the boss music at some point they hide an SOS signal. And it's supposed to, I mean, I think it might actually be the Divine Beast theme music itself, not just the boss fight. Like within the Divine Beast, like you can hear an SOS signal appear in each song, and it's like pretty much the same rhythm in every song. Because, you know, the Divine Beast music is the same. Well, not entirely the same, but they're very close together to one another. And the difference between the 4 different, like the critical difference, I should say, before the 4 different themes is when that signal actually starts. The 2 most notable ones being that Mipha's SOS signal starts almost immediately, and Revali's is the latest one. Like, it takes the longest for that signal to come up. And the argument for that, like the reasoning that people think that is because Mipha, like, immediately knew she was in trouble. Like, she wasn't really as much the combat champion, but saw that, you know, there was this calamity and just immediately put out an SOS. Whereas Revali, being as, you know, as arrogant and like, I can do this myself as he was, took the longest to actually send an SOS because he was able to hold his own against the calamity, like hit against Windblight, basically the longest of anyone with their own blights.
I immediately thought of it more as like, because of how close Mipha and Link were, that she would like go to him first and immediately with any issue. So an SOS from her would be like immediate, whereas Revali is like jealous of Link because he's the hero, because he has the sword, and that's all he thinks is just because of the sword.
Yeah.
So he would definitely wait until he was basically already losing and like knew he lost before he actually was like, help, please. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, one of the things that, I mean, part of that same story is like, okay, so like Daruk, if he didn't have bombs, kind of like what Anthony said, like, how was he going to end up fighting this guy? Once he put up that barrier, it was like force field against force field, but Daruk's could be destroyed eventually. Like, this guy, there was literally no way to get through it if you didn't have bombs. I mean, with Revali, it's a huge criticism because, like, everything that Windblight was weak to was what Revali was supposed to be, like, a specialist in. So it was just like, what are you doing, Revali? Like, how could you not have won this? But I don't want to be too critical of him. So
yeah, we should though.
But yeah, no, I mean, the champions seem to be way more competent, I should say, and like should have had the skills to take these guys on, but that's just not how the story goes, I guess. I think part of the problem is that they were ambushed and they didn't have what they needed to fight each blight. But yeah. Yeah, I remember all this stuff. I mean, we haven't gone through the memories quest yet, but everything went down pretty quick. I don't think everyone was ready for what happened. So, yeah. Cool. So we beat this guy. We get this
we do.
We get this cutscene where, the spirit of Daruk shows up. Is, super grateful like the rest of them have been, except for maybe Rivali. And goes on. He gives you the Daruk's protection. He says he's going to bring the thing up to get ready for the final, like basically so that we can. He's like, now we can enact our plan that we had 100 years ago. Finally, like we can do this what we were planning to do this whole time. That's the good news. Like we got rid of that like Blight Ganon thing. Like let's do this, right? The best part about this cutscene to me though is what happens after the Vah Rudania is back in place, because
where he looks down.
Yeah, because he's like the only guy so far who's, I mean, like Mifo had curiosity about her family, but she was like so far away from the domain that there wasn't an opportunity for this. But with Daruk, like he was able to just walk over to the edge and look down and be like, he's like, oh, I wonder how, the Goron race is doing. Like, I wonder how my family's doing. Like, what's going on? And he looks down and he sees Yunobo and he's like, oh, yeah, we're still going strong. And he's like, fist bumping in the air. And Yunobo actually sees Daruk as well.
Yeah.
Like, he looks up and he starts like cheering too. And they're like yelling to each other, which is really heartwarming because that's his grandfather up there on the divine beast,
I like also what Daruk said. Before he looked down, he like goes over the distance and it's like, oh yeah, that's my old rolling grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just it's a really cool moment. It's really interesting. Like other people can see the divine beast, but they're just not in the right area to do so for the most part. But also just like this moment that they're able to share together. And I think for Yunobo, that's a huge deal because my dude clearly something happened to his dad. He hasn't had, like, he's known to be the champion's grandson, but like probably, I don't know how much he's actually met Daruk before, I don't, like, the dude's definitely got some confidence issues. And I can't help but think that might stem from the fact that he grew up, as far as we know, without a parent or a grandparent to help him. Like he was basically under the tutelage of the chief, and that's only because he had this force field ability that he overuses, quite frankly. Like because he's afraid of everything. So I'm thinking that this for him was a huge deal, a big moment of like a big confidence boost for this otherwise very cowardly character.
He even mentions it too. If you talk to him after that, he's like, I sort of saw someone standing on the top of the divine beast.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit like Daruk, but I'm not really sure if what I saw was real. But either way, I feel like I'm totally confidence boosted. I feel awesome now. I was like, all right, Yunobo.
He actually mentions Ghost too. He's like, I wonder if that was Daruk's ghost.
Yeah.
He has a really unenthused woo towards the end of that cutscene too, when he starts cheering because he notices Daruk up there. He's like, "Yeah,
voice acting is
hard." And those are going strong, and then he goes, "Woo!" At one point in it, he just like sounds like he's got to keep his voice down for some reason. I was like, "Oh, that woo is kind of leaving me a little wanting."
Well, yeah. But so we get back to the city and we can follow Yunobo, and he brings us back over to Ludo, where we can get a stone smasher. I don't even remember what the actual name of it is, but basically it's a special stone crusher tool.
60 damage.
Yeah, it's massive damage. It's the best hammer in the game.
And if you have the Master Sword equipped at this, when he points back to the cave and he goes, "Oh, there's a gift inside my hut. You can have it." Oh, but actually, it doesn't really compare to the legendary blade that the champion once wielded to destroy evil. Actually, now that I look at you, that sword you have there looks pretty much like it. And then it stops the cutscene right there. Right after he says that.
So the weapon is actually the boulder breaker.
There you go.
And
alliteration weapon attack.
I have, because of the amiibos, you know how you can get attack up bonuses and stats for, you know, various things. So I got a plus 17 to this baby from an amiibo. But it wasn't the boulder breaker itself, it was the stone crusher, which is at 45. So if you add another 17 to that, it comes out like right around boulder breaker. But I'm like imagining, what if I get a boulder breaker plus 17?
That would be broken.
That'd be crazy.
No, I was just going to say, it's not really cost effective to fix this thing or build a new one, because you need a cobble crusher and you need a diamond.
Man, you need diamonds for everything. Speaking of diamond, you just reminded me, there's one other character that I didn't talk to him until I was done with all this stuff anyway, so this is kind of appropriate. But either you guys run into Ramella while you were here? She's a Gerudo woman who is looking for gems. Anka gems. Anyway, so she finds sapphires. Well, she doesn't find any of this stuff. She's actually in Goron Town Goron City because she's looking for them, and she knows that Death Mountain is like a hotbed for mining, which it is. I mean, that's the other part of the farm that I was going to talk about earlier, is that Death Mountain is incredibly lucrative if you just wander around with a hammer looking for stones to smash into. There's just a higher amount of gold-lined stones, which are the ones that normally drop gems in this area. So it's like the cost of business. Like, you know, you got to have your flame breaker set and everything to be here. But once you do, you can mine for stones pretty good. But one of the things that we know just from talking to other NPCs is that the Gerudo town has a jewelry shop. They're known for their jewelry. Like, they make.
She's working for the jewelry shop getting gems?
I guess so. Either that, or she's like, you know, she's the other piece of the economy. Like, she gets the gems, sells them to the jewelry shop. That's how she makes her money.
Is she wearing the flame breaker set too?
No, she's not.
Well, she's just toughing it out.
She's one of two characters. There's Pekingo is in the city too. I didn't mention him, but he ain't wearing no flame breaker set either. He's just painting away in the flames.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Crazy Sheikah.
So
I actually just
resistant.
Today did the quest for the jewelry shop actually in Gerudo Town. Can't remember the person's name, but I got the shop running, which is like part of a different quest. So I'm not really sure if that person's tied to the jewelry shop quest or if she's just like competition.
I don't know. I mean, she stays in Goron City from what I understand. I don't think there's ever a time where she goes back to Gerudo City or Gerudo Town. Yeah. But yeah, if we talk to Ramella, she will buy from us 10 of a specific gem. I think she starts out with Amber, and she buys them at a premium rate. So she, you know, if you have 10 of whatever it is she's currently looking for, you can sell it to her, and you would make, I don't know, if you were going to make 400, you'd make 450 from her instead, something like that. So basically, she's just the premium spot for selling gems if you have over 10 of them. Pretty good find, pretty cool NPC if you're looking to do some mining and try to make some money that way.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I think I do better with the gourmet steaks, but that's just me.
Hey.
Them steaks go for a lot.
They do go for
widely available.
If you're able to go through Hebrew, you can get steaks all day. But yeah, that's what I got for today's episode. I'm all out of NPCs I want to talk about.
Well, I guess the last thing to talk about is this is the prime location for shield surfing, my guys. Could shield surf all day on these slopes.
On the big rocky slopes, on like the worst.
You're some mad gnar on these slopes.
You make the wrong turn and you just
I don't
end up
think you can though.
straight in the lava.
on the backside of the mountain, there's actually like some paths where some ostriches hang out, just mad gnar slopes.
Really? It's like a red type of ground that you can actually surf on because the rock here, you guys is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the bases of the backside. You get some mad shred gnar.
I think on the backside of the mountain is where you can find Dinral every once in a while as well.
Gnar. I saw him when I was like climbing up with Yonobo, like towards the very end, way off in the distance. So far, if it was Pokemon, the thing would be moving at 0.00000001 frames per second. But it was actually still looking kind of decent in this game, and so it was way out there. I was like, "Whoa, it's crazy!"
Pokemon dig.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I don't know.
The second you described its movement in frames per second, I was like, that's not how movement works. But wait, we're talking about Pokemon. That is kind of how movement works. Oh, goodness.
I mean, I could still tell that it wasn't moving at like full 30 frames per second because, I mean, the dragon was really far away. If this was like the size of my screen, I could see the entire dragon in like just this little bit. Like it was way out there. I don't know if it was just heading over or if it was just leaving. But at that moment, it was an extreme distance away, and it was kind of a little choppy, but I just thought it was neat.
Would you say it was 12 ounces of Dinral?
Just 12 ounces. Yes, indubitably. 12 fluid ounces of Dinral.
All right. Sounds good, guys. If you don't mind, I'm going to close out the episode at this point.
Go ahead.
All right. So this has been our episode of A for No, B for Yes. Thank you so much for listening. Next episode, not actually next week. These are 2 weeks apart for the most part. But next episode, we will be covering the Dragons of Hyrule, which is actually perfect because we just got done talking about Dinral. But we're doing dragons. We're doing the shrines connected to those dragons. We are going to have a dragon party. So come check that out next time. You can reach out to us on our website or any of our social medias. Anthony also does some emotional stuff from time to time, so go check that out. And we will catch you on the next episode of A for No, B for Yes.
Click.
Did you get all that?